You know that feeling, the persistent headaches, the dizziness, that really annoying brain fog? Well, you probably always assume the problem is, in your head. But what if the real culprit isn't in your skull at all? What if it's actually a traffic jam and it's starting in your neck? Today, we're going to dig into a perspective that reframes chronic head pain not as a brain issue, but as a plumbing problem. Okay, let's get into it. So here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll look at what this approach says is the real source of headache pain. Then we'll explore the brain's really delicate drainage system and pinpoint the critical spot in the neck where things can go wrong. We'll cover the risks of just ignoring this and the potential rewards of actually doing something about it before walking you step by step through a very specific exercise. And then we'll wrap up by tackling some of the most common questions you might have. Alright, so first things first. Let's completely rethink what a headache is. Instead of some mysterious pain, picture it more like an alarm bell. See, your skull is a fixed bony box. It can't expand, it can't stretch. And for your brain to be happy, the amount of blood flowing in has to be perfectly balanced with the amount of blood flowing out. When that balance gets thrown off, well, pressure starts to build. And that pressure is what you feel as a headache. It's basically a signal that the flow is all wrong. And this gets us to a really key concept, intracranial pressure, or ICP. All that means is the pressure inside that bony box we were just talking about. Think of it like a traffic jam on the only highway out of a city. When blood can't drain out as fast as it's being pumped in, you get congestion. And in your head, that congestion means a buildup of pressure that leads directly to pain, that feeling of mental slowness, and just being tired all the time. The really crucial thing to get here is that this isn't a problem with your brain tissue. It's a mechanical plumbing issue. So how is this drainage system actually set up? Well, you basically have two main highways for blood to get out. You've got the big jugular veins on the sides of your neck. They're large. They run outside the spine, and they almost never get blocked. But that second system, the vertebral veins, that's a whole different story. These veins are smaller, and they have this really unique and kind of vulnerable path. They travel directly through little bony channels inside your neck bones. And that design makes them super easy to compress if anything's out of whack with the alignment or the muscles around those bones. And this quote just illustrates the problem perfectly. If you squeeze your arm, blood gets trapped and your arm swells up, right? But your skull can't do that. It's a hard hat. It has zero give. So when those vertebral veins get squeezed and the blood outflow is disturbed, that pressure has nowhere to go. It just builds and builds and builds inside your head. This creates what the source material calls a venous stasis, which is basically a stagnant swap inside your skull where fresh, oxygenated blood can't get in because the old, used blood can't get out. Okay, so where is this blockage most likely to happen? The source points to a very specific spot, the junction between your first and second neck vertebrae, C1 and C2. You can see it here. C1 is the atlas, which holds up your skull, and C2 is the axis, which acts as the pivot point so you can turn your head. Now, having all that incredible range of motion comes with a trade-off. It's a mechanically complex joint, and it's right at this intricate intersection that those vertebral veins and arteries are at their most vulnerable to getting squeezed. And what's doing the squeezing? Well, it's the muscles. Specifically, a group of 8 small but incredibly powerful, deep muscles right at the base of your skull. These are the muscles that control all the fine movements of that C1 to C2 joint. You can't really see them or feel them easily, but when even one of these 8 little muscles goes into a chronic spasm, maybe from stress, bad posture, whatever, it can create a serious bottleneck, physically clamping down on the vessels that are just trying to pass through. And the consequences of just letting this pressure build up can be pretty serious. We're not just talking about headaches and being dizzy. Chronic intracranial pressure can lead to that constant fatigue and brain fog. It can physically press on your optic nerve, causing vision problems, and maybe even contributing to things like glaucoma down the line. Your memory can get fuzzy, and maybe the most serious risk of all, when blood gets stagnant in the brain, that venous stasis we talked about, it increases the risk of an ischemic stroke. That's where a part of the brain is starved of oxygen, simply because the blood flow has ground to a halt. All right, let's get practical and see how we can address this. We're going to walk through this exercise nice and slow. Step 1 is just about finding the right spots. So, take your fingers and trace them down the back of your skull until you feel that hard, bony ridge. Just below that ridge, on either side of your spine, you're going to find two little soft hollows. That's your target. Go ahead and place your fingertips right there. The key is to be in the soft tissue. You're not pushing on bone. Okay, now for step 2, the movement itself. With your fingertips in place, you're going to gently push your chin forward and a little bit upward, kind of like a turtle carefully peeking its head out of its shell. As you do that, you should feel those deep little muscles under your fingertips tense up. Then, you just slowly relax back to where you started. Step 3 is all about the reps. This is a slow, rhythmic, compress and release kind of movement. The goal here is to do about 20 to 30 of these slow reps. And finally, step 4, relax and release. After you finish your set, just let your neck and shoulders completely go. Now, a really important note from the source material here, you might actually feel your headache get a little worse during the exercise. This is described as being totally normal. It's a sign you're hitting the exact muscle that's in spasm. The relief is supposed to come after you relax, when that muscle finally lets go of its grip and the blood starts flowing properly again. All right, let's run through some common questions. First up, why does my head hurt more while I'm doing the exercise? Like we just mentioned, you're intentionally making a muscle that's already super tight contract even more. It's kind of like pressing on a bruise. That discomfort is part of forcing the muscle to reset. The whole point is that feeling of release you get after you stop. Next, how long does this take to work? Consistency is everything here. Just like any other exercise, the benefits build up over time. Doing it every day, morning and evening, is what gradually teaches these deep muscles to chill out. And another big one. What if I can't feel the muscles tensing up? Just try adjusting your finger placement a little. Make sure you're really in those soft spots, and focus on making that chin movement really small and precise. Forward and up. And 2 final questions. Can this replace my pain medication? Well, this exercise is designed to address the root mechanical cause, the muscle squeezing the vein. Medication usually just manages the symptom, which is the pain. So they're working on the problem from 2 very different angles. And last but definitely not least, is this exercise safe for everyone? That is a fantastic and essential question, and it takes us right to our final and most critical point. So, to wrap this all up, let's just boil it down. The main argument here is that a lot of chronic headaches aren't really a head problem at all. They're a neck problem. It's about plumbing. When blood can't drain out of the skull properly, pressure builds up and that pressure causes pain. This blockage often happens right at that C1 to C2 junction, and it's caused by spasms in those 8 tiny deep neck muscles. The idea is that a targeted exercise like the one we covered can help release these muscles, get the blood flowing again, and hopefully relieve the symptoms. Now, before we finish, this is absolutely critical, so please listen closely. The information in this explainer is for educational purposes only. It is based entirely on the perspective from the source material we analyzed. It is not medical advice, and you shouldn't treat it that way. Before you try this or any new exercise, especially if you have chronic pain or any pre-existing medical condition, you absolutely must consult with a qualified healthcare professional to figure out if it is safe and appropriate for you. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. If you want to understand more complex topics broken down in clear, direct explainers just like this one, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what we analyze next. We'll see you in the next one.